Alright, so we finally got an update video for you guys on the wagon. I just picked up a new rear hatch because, as you guys saw on the wagon over there, the whole back window is busted, so it's just easier just to get a whole new hatch. So we're gonna Plasti dip this thing black to match the roof and the hood and everything else. But because maroon and green don't really go together very well, so we're just taking all the interior pieces off so we can get to the bolts on the inside of here. This one down here and everything that holds the trim piece on the outside on. This one has the turbo badge just missing, so I'm gonna put the one I have on. It looks much better. This way we can also plastic up underneath all these interior pieces and yeah, change the lock cylinder as well. It's located right in there, that little guy. But we also got to switch over the brake light because this one didn't come with one. But so the license plate bolts were completely rusted out, so we had to use a power drill and drill the heads of the bolts off. Now we just got to pop them out so we can take this trim piece off.
Why don't you have it flipped the other way?
We did. We flipped it this way to get the trim piece off because the bolts are on. The bolts are on the inside. Okay. Yeah. Got it out. Yeah, they're really rusted in there. So we got the little arm popped off of the handle. The whole trim piece off now. Alright, we got it all masked off now. Ready for the first coat of Plasti dip. This is the last time it'll be maroon forever. And we got the first coat on. Just kind of do it kind of light. Let it sort of dry and get a good base coat. Something for the other layers to grab onto. Make sure it gets fully dry before we do the next coat. So the first coat's pretty much dry. It's always a good idea to heat up your Plasti dip before you spray it on. It helps it come out a lot smoother, not so orange peely and gross. So we got a few more coats on. Just trying to like fill in some of the bumps from where this badge tore off the paint underneath. Just trying to do it a little bit thick there, but so far it's drying nicely. It's still really wet. I think this is a total of 5 coats right now, 4 or 5 coats. Still got a whole other can though, so I have to do the inside as well. Alright, so this is the hatch after about 7 layers now. 7 or 8 layers. Pretty much gonna call this good. Don't forget, when you're working with Plasti dip, you always got to use a razor blade and cut the edge of the tape when you peel it so it doesn't stick and ruin your new Plasti dip. So we flipped it over because I wanted to also Plasti dip the inside lining of it, so when you open it up you don't see the old color like sticking out right at you. So I'm gonna call that good for tonight. We're gonna let this dry overnight and come back in the morning and put all the interior pieces back together and get everything ready to get back on the car. Alright, so it's the next day. It's all dry, pretty much ready to go. I picked up this spoiler from the junkyard for about $6. It's some kind of aftermarket spoiler for a first gen wagon. It just kind of tacks in on the top of the hatch with these wood screws, and it has these little spacers on the bottom. And then we're gonna put some silicone on it just to make sure it doesn't leak. Kind of make our own gasket with it. But I'm pretty happy with how the Plasti dip turned out. You can see it kind of in the reflection of the sun. It's not too bad. This little spot here where the paint came off underneath it, it's still, I tried to fill it in with Plasti dip, but it's still kind of noticeable, but oh well. So on to marking the holes. So we're just doing one side at a time so we can make sure it's even across the center. But these are just wood screws that tack straight into the metal, and we're going to seal it with silicone. Alright, so we got it kind of tacked on there, just snug down a little bit so we can check the measurements. We're going to take it off and put silicone on the screws so it doesn't leak. So the whole reason we're doing this is when I got this car, the glass on the rear hatch is completely shattered. I guess the guy turned on his defrost one cold morning and it just shattered the back window. And I would really like to keep this hatch and have it be the same color, but the glass actually wraps around these panels on the side, so it makes changing the glass really, really difficult. So that's why I just opted to get a new one instead and paint it black. Alright, so we get everything sealed up. You just kind of back the screws off a little bit and stuff some silicone on the actual screws. And call it good. Now time to put the lock cylinder and all the trim pieces back on and get it ready to put back on the car. So we got the old hatch off. The glass is pretty busted. So now if we go over to the car, show you guys what it looks like without a hatch on it. So I didn't have to take much apart. I was actually able to just kind of take the trim off here and get to the bolts underneath. You gotta pop the light off and everything, but not too bad. Made sure to leave plenty of slack on this side so we can crimp these wires onto the new hatch. And then there's this, which is just a vacuum line for the or a water feed line for the washer sprayer. So we got to disassemble the rear brake light because the new one was missing its one, so we just got to take it apart now. Start taking all the stuff off. So we're getting the trim piece on, slowly getting it bolted on. One thing is be careful when you're doing this. So I cut my finger pretty good on the metal inside the panel, so it's pretty sharp. Be careful. This is hard to do with a hurt hand. Alright, so we got most of the trim back together. They're having fun. So next we gotta put the brake light on and then put it back on the car. Alright, so we got it on after much fiddling with one of the hydraulic strut tower thingies or whatever they're called. But we still have to take some of the interior off and get it all buttoned up and get everything put on. But nope. There she is. It's kind of dark out, it's hard to see, but I think the spoiler came out really good. You can kind of see it. So that's it for this update. Thanks for watching. Next time we're going to be putting a factory roof rack or luggage rack on this wagon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.